Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name, of course, is Seesaw Chris, and today we're talking about World of Warcraft in 2019. Now, it's obvious that I do play some World of Warcraft. I've made a few videos about the endgame in the past little while. I actually came back to the game at the start of this expansion, which is kind of weird for a lot of veteran players because it's not had the most positive reviews, but I was just in an area in my MMO world where I was like, I want to play WoW again, so that's where we are. But like I said, a lot of my videos have focused on the end game, and I'm really interested in sort of the new player experience for World of Warcraft, because I've been doing a lot of new player experience gameplay for Final Fantasy XIV on this channel, and for those of you who might not know, that game's very similar to World of Warcraft in a lot of ways, and if anything, it's a very direct competitor. And I keep on referencing how things are in World of Warcraft, but I always reference what they're like at endgame, because I don't play very much like low-level stuff, specifically on an account or realm that doesn't have like Heirlooms, doesn't have gold, doesn't have all this. So in this video, or series of videos, I'm going to be on Alliance characters. All of my characters are on the Horde right now, so that'll stop me from having any kind of gold, and I won't use any heirlooms, and I'll get a very real feel of what it's like to start playing from scratch in World of Warcraft. Now, this will be on a paid subscription account. The videos I make for Final Fantasy XIV have been on a trial account, so there is a little bit of difference there, and I'll be very mindful of that. But I really hope to be able to contrast the two games very well. The other reason that I've decided to do this series is that I ultimately want to contrast the retail version of World of Warcraft, the leveling process and sort of the end game, to the vanilla or classic World of Warcraft when it does come out. And a release date was actually announced today in August. So this is a very timely time, what a fun sentence, for us to make a video series sort of outlining the leveling process for retail World of Warcraft with a new account, or a new realm rather. So that's what's going to happen. I'm going to make a gnome mage because I love gnomes, and it's been the one downfall of playing the Horde is not having a gnome, and it's definitely one of probably the character combination that I'm going to make in classic World of Warcraft as well. So I feel like it's a very good starting point for us to really go through and play it like this. In this video, I mostly just quest. I mean, that's all I can do until level 10 at this point. So you'll see me go through Gnomeregan is where we start. And I don't actually remember if that was always where the gnomes start. I don't think it was, but maybe I'm wrong. Certainly, we have our new little gnomish town here, and I don't remember that always being the case. So I'm very interested to see what it was like in Classic for gnomes. In the intro story that they have here, which I do love the intro stories for World of Warcraft. I think they paint a very good picture of your race and your position in the world. Like I had mentioned in my Final Fantasy XIV video, their intro story is very graphically pleasing. It takes you kind of into a part of your subconscious where you're kind of like talking to these spirits, and it's all dark and mystical. It feels very detached from the world, whereas our starting sort of intro makes sure to show the world. Like the world is kind of the main focus. It shows you your surroundings. It shows you kind of your main city or hub area. It shows you kind of the political world of the gnomes, who are currently apparently at some weird stand with Ironforge and the dwarves, which I haven't been deep enough into World of Warcraft recently to really know what the story is there. But it does a really good job of sort of tying it to the world. Now, the Final Fantasy XIV one does this as well. After you've kind of come out of your subconscious, you sort of see an attack nearby, and then you go to the city and all that. So there is that, but it's definitely a part of a much bigger thing. Whereas, for the World of Warcraft, you feel very small when you start. It's not until later on that you become the champions of Azeroth and yada, yada, yada. And I do like the simple beginnings of it, and just your feeling of being a part of the race. I think that's very well displayed in this video. Now, the questing experience itself is pretty slow. You're just kind of walking to different places. It teaches you to kill things. It teaches you to equip weapons and stuff like that, and to collect things off the ground and stuff like that. So it's very basic. What is very interesting for World of Warcraft, and I'm just really aware of this as someone who plays a lot of endgame, the leveling process is actually more rewarding at the lower level. You get a lot of skills, a lot of talents and stuff like that. And then once you get to level 100, there's nothing you get. And that's one of the biggest downfalls of this expansion, is that it does not feel very rewarding to do the higher end leveling, the sort of the 110 to 120, or the even from 100 to 120. There's not a lot of stuff that you unlock when it comes to character progression, and it feels pretty bad. Whereas at low levels, there's always a new skill that you're almost going to get, a new talent that you're almost going to get, a new PvP talent that you're almost going to get. I think their pacing is a bit off. And as a new player, it's really nice, actually, because it does make you feel very accomplished. And I feel like it's maybe designed in that way to encourage and really promote leveling at low levels. And then once you do get kind of to level 100, you're probably already kind of like excited enough to get to max level that you're going to finish it off. So I do see it working well for new players, but it is something to be mindful of. Now, you start in a specific specialization and you kind of stay in it until level 10, where you're able to access the different specializations or specs, as you will. In this, you'll see me, I'm playing, I believe it's Frost that I start in, and there's no real way to change it until level 10. So it kind of forces you into a specific spec, and I guess they've chosen sort of the most mage feeling spec, which I don't know. It's up to whatever you think. I believe that at low levels, Arcane's quite powerful, specifically in PvP. So I'll probably switch to that when I start doing more battlegrounds and stuff like that. But like I said earlier, you can only really quest until level 10 or 15. So there's not too much to worry about, really, about what spec you're in. And it's more about how quickly you can get through the quests. Now, through this video, I was actually very surprised by how slow the XP felt, specifically contrasting characters I've been leveling recently that have full heirlooms, there's even new potions that give you an extra 10% on top of the heirlooms. It feels very slow when you don't have all of that stacked on top of you. Now, they actually did revamp the leveling process a few months ago now, and they lowered the XP requirement for a lot of different levels. Specifically, the 60 to 80 area got nerfed a lot, and that was actually pretty tedious before, which is unfortunate because it is over kind of my favorite expansions, the Burning Crusade, or you can go to the Lich King expansion areas. And it just felt like it took a really long time to get through that compared to the rest of the game. So they've done apparently a better job of distributing the leveling process throughout the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if, obviously if that part got shortened more than other parts, some of these other places are going to feel a bit longer. So I was actually surprised by how long it was taking me to level. I know, looking forward at my classic WoW videos, I'm going to laugh at myself for even suggesting that this is a long time, because despite never having played Classic, I know that it's quite the grind. So if you're watching this in the future when Classic's out, I apologize for these remarks I'm making. But in terms of contrasting it to Final Fantasy XIV, I'd say that I'm going faster in this game, but that comes with my knowledge of the game. I'm not like learning everything for the first time. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV, I'm really making sure to read as much of the quest text as I can to learn about all the skills, about all the like different merchants and stuff like that. So a lot of time's taken up doing that. So it's fairly comparable, I'd say, from a new player's perspective. In World of Warcraft, there is obviously a free trial as well if you haven't played the game. I probably should have mentioned this at the start. You can play it for free. It's only to level 20 in World of Warcraft, whereas Final Fantasy XIV goes up to 35. But both of them are unlimited time, so you can play it as long as you want and switch out characters and stuff like that. but you can only get to level 20. There's obviously other restrictions in terms of chatting and friends and like auction house and stuff like that, but in terms of the raw game, that's what you can do. So I would recommend you give it a try if you haven't tried the game. If you do want to just follow along and not, invest anything in the game, feel free to subscribe and watch the series. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you're looking at other MMOs, check out some of the other stuff on the channel. I mean, I'm a very casual MMO player, and I love bouncing around between games, so this might be a place for you. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you are enjoying the content. If you did play World of Warcraft or are playing it currently, maybe share what your favorite class is for the new players that might be watching this. For me, my current favorite class is probably the Rogue. Specifically, I was going to say Combat Rogue, but it's called Outlaw now, which is kind of saddening. But that's typically my favorite class, so a mage is pretty out of my realm of what I like to do, and it'll make me actually quite the bait, or victim rather, probably, for rogues in the future. So I'm not looking forward to that part of PvP, but I'm excited to experience something different. So you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.